Andy was a natural leader, even though he wasn't officially a producer or writer for the show. He made a big contribution. Ron Howard has kept quiet about his time on The Andy Griffith Show, and it's understandable. Growing up on such a popular show makes fans curious about what really happened behind the scenes. Now, after many years, Ron is finally sharing details about his friendship with Andy Griffith. Was Mayberry really as perfect as it looked? Did Andy truly have the charm of the sheriff? Get ready for some surprising stories about Ron and Andy. When you think of The Andy Griffith Show, you remember the small-town charm. While Ron Howard and Andy Griffith had fun together on screen, their friendship was more complex off-screen. For the first time, Ron shares his experiences with Andy, and not everything will be what you expect. On Sunday walks and chats between father and son, Ron is finally ready to reveal some secrets. There are also rumors of tension. Ron Howard is a well-known director, famous for films like Apollo 13 and A Beautiful Mind. Born on March 1, 1954 in Duncan, Oklahoma, Ron grew up in a family of actors. By the time he was just 15 months old, he was already appearing in commercials, while most kids his age were still learning about the world. Ron Howard started acting when his family moved to Hollywood. His dad, Rance Howard, helped him improve his skills. With his parents' support, Ron's early performances were not just charming, they were well prepared. Now, what does Ron think about his friendship with Andy Griffith? Stay tuned as this story gets even more exciting. Ron Howard didn't just accidentally become an actor. Ron grew up around Hollywood and got his first acting job at just 5 years old in the film The Journey. In 1959, while most kids his age were learning simple things like tying their shoes, Ron was working alongside experienced actors. It wasn't until he appeared on Playhouse 90 that people noticed his talent. Critics loved his performances, noting he showed depth that you wouldn't expect from a kid who still needed reminders to eat his vegetables. By 1960, when Ron auditioned in The Andy Griffith Show, Ron Howard was gaining attention in Hollywood even as a child. His bright red hair caught the eye of casting directors, but it was his natural talent and eagerness to learn about acting that really helped him land roles. At just 6 years old, he got the part of Opie Taylor, which made him famous. His on-screen chemistry with Andy Griffith was great, but their off-screen relationship was important too. Andy guided Ron and taught him a lot, especially about comedy. Through 25, understanding why character motives are important goes beyond just acting lessons. It includes valuable life lessons presented in a fun way. Ron Howard's memorable audition for The Andy Griffith Show was not only a job for him, but also a place where he learned important skills. While most kids were dealing with playground issues, he was gaining knowledge on teamwork and storytelling. How many kids can say they went to work every day and received life advice from Andy Griffith? Andy Griffith's own story began Andy was born on June 1, 1926, in the small town of Mount Airy, North Carolina, which inspired the fictional Mayberry. Growing up during the Great Depression, he had a modest upbringing. Despite this, his parents managed to buy him an old trombone. Andy originally wanted to be a music teacher, but life took a different turn. His sense of humor and storytelling skills led him to perform in nightclubs. His big break came from a funny monologue about football called "What It Was Football." Before it even became popular, it sold over 800,000 copies, showing that a good laugh can lead to great success. This surprise success launched Andy into the entertainment industry, where his friendly and humble nature became his signature. Off-screen, Andy was more than just a co-star to Ron Howard, who played Opie. Andy had a talent for making things relatable, often sharing personal stories to emphasize his points. Ron later shared that Andy's insights influenced him both in his career and personal life. Even after the show ended, Ron continued to call Andy for advice. Andy wasn't just a TV legend. He was a mentor everyone wishes they had. Wise, friendly, and charming. As a special gesture, Andy gave Ron a signed guitar to celebrate their friendship, which Ron still cherishes. Their relationship is a great example of a mentor and mentee bond in Hollywood. The show that started in 1960 quickly became a classic for showing life in a small town and important values. Over its 8 seasons, it often ranked as one of the most popular TV programs. Andy Griffith played Sheriff Taylor, who showed kindness and wisdom, while Ron Howard played Opie, representing innocence and curiosity. Their relationship created a heartwarming father-son dynamic. Behind the scenes, the cast and crew created a friendly, family-like atmosphere, which added to the show's positive vibe. Did you know that the show's famous whistling theme, the fishing hole theme, is one of the most well-known TV songs? The show made Andy Griffith a TV legend and helped kickstart Ron Howard's career. He moved smoothly from a beloved childhood role to adult acting, which isn't always easy. When the Andy Griffith Show ended, it felt special. It wasn't just another season ending. Andy Griffith spoke to everyone as it marked the end of an important time. As he spoke, he suddenly felt a wave of emotion. Tears streamed down his face. He was sobbing. This was not just about leaving a job, it was about leaving a family and a way of life. He understood that the show had meant so much more to him than just work. It was a big part of his life, and now that it was ending, he felt uncertain about life without the people he knew and the comfort of his daily routine. Looking back, he realized that it wasn't just the show that shaped his childhood, it was how his dad turned unexpected events into something meaningful. His dad came to California hoping to achieve a dream he had to put on hold because of the Korean War. However, his big chance didn't come. It came to his young son instead. This change in luck turned his dad into an acting coach, teaching him in a unique way that only a parent could. It wasn't a regular acting class. His dad explained the art of acting in a way a little kid could grasp. Simple yet effective. Even at just 4 or 5 years old, the boy was learning the basics of Stanislavski, but in a simpler form. For example, his dad would use a scene showing Opie trying to avoid doing his homework. Opie doesn't want to do his homework, and his dad encourages him to complete it. Opie is trying to avoid it, showing he feels lazy or uninterested. His dad helps him understand how to act by explaining things clearly so even a child can grasp it. If there's a moment when Opie seems to get away with something, his dad reminds him that those situations are just for TV and not for real life, telling him not to try those things at home. Besides being an acting coach, his dad has a special quality. He is never scared of anyone, no matter who they are. He worked with famous people like Andy Griffith, Don Knotts, Aaron Rubin, and Sheldon Leonard. But even with all these big names, his dad would raise his hand and say, "Wait, I don't think this is working. Opie seems too bratty. Instead of just trying to get cheap laughs, let's make the relationship more genuine." The amazing thing is that Andy and Sheldon listened to him and agreed. This decision to make Opie's relationship with his dad more authentic changed everything for the show. Fast, for the final days of shooting, he was 14, and the wrap party was unlike anything before. The show was still #1, but Andy Griffith was ready to move on, and honestly, he was okay with it. He had other interests, sports directing and returning to school. But when the final day of shooting came, it felt like a punch to the gut. At the party, Andy took the mic and just like that, the tears started flowing. It wasn't just a show ending, it was a chapter of his life, closing, that he didn't fully realize he'd miss until that moment he was. Saying goodbye to those who felt like family was tough for him as they played a big role in shaping his life. Nearly 20 years later, they brought back the show for a reunion movie. By that time, he had moved on, directing and leaving Happy Days behind. Life had changed, but when Andy asked him to come back and play Opie again, he agreed. He was happy to see that his old co-workers were just as great as he remembered, and the memories from his childhood were still vivid. The bond was just as strong as before. It felt like no time had gone by. Ron Howard didn't want to only be known as Opie Taylor forever. He took on other roles, like his memorable part in George Lucas's American Graffiti in 1973. The movie's success showed that Ron was more than just that kid from Mayberry. At the same time, he studied at USC's School of Cinematic Arts to learn about filmmaking and to move beyond being seen as a child star. He committed himself to directing. Grand Theft Auto is a low-budget movie from 1977, produced by Roger Corman, who is known for making great films on a tight budget. Then came big hits like Splash in 1984, a romantic comedy about a mermaid that made us believe in love and sea creatures, and Cocoon in 1985. A touching sci-fi story about aging. These movies did more than make Ron a well-known filmmaker. They showed that to succeed in Hollywood, you need to reinvent yourself. Ron moved away from his small-town roots to pursue this. Charmed for big screen brilliance, honestly, were all the better in 1975, Ron Howard tied the knot with Cheryl, and against all Hollywood odds, they're still going strong nearly 50 years later. In an industry where marriages can last as long as a movie's runtime, Ron and Cheryl have been the exception. A gifted writer, Cheryl became his rock, helping him navigate the wild ride of the entertainment business. Let's face it, Hollywood is no picnic together. They built a close-knit family that includes Bryce Dallas Howard, is a popular actress and filmmaker, but her family stays grounded despite their fame. Ron Howard attributes his successful career to the strong support from his wife Cheryl, and he believes being a dad has influenced his storytelling. The Howard family is very close. They not only support each other on the red carpet, but also probably have some fun group chats. Their marriage shows that love can last in Hollywood. Meanwhile, Andy Griffith was still active in his career. After his time in Mayberry, he became a clever yet friendly lawyer in Matlock, showing that Southern charm and a nice suit are always in style. People loved him again, and the show was a hit. Andy also returned to his musical roots, releasing country and gospel albums, influenced by his Southern background. Despite all his success, Andy always considered his Mayberry days the best part of his career and remained close to his co-stars, especially Ron. Howard, who affectionately referred to Andy as his son in spirit, balanced his work and personal life skillfully in his later years to maintain his status as one of America's beloved entertainers. As for Ron Howard, leaving Mayberry took him to a fictional Milwaukee in the 1950s when the sitcom Happy Days premiered in 1974. Ron played Richie Cunningham, the friendly kid everyone wanted as a best friend. The show was a huge success, introducing popular phrases leather jackets and the coolest mechanic, Fonzie. Fans loved Richie Ron and had big plans. During his free time on set, he learnt about directing and even directed a few episodes. For Ron, Happy Days was more than acting. It was the start of his filmmaking career. Andy Griffith wasn't just the charming sheriff of Mayberry, he was also a serious mentor. Even when the cameras weren't rolling, Andy was dedicated to guiding others. Young Ron Howard received helpful advice from Andy Griffith, who always shared it in a caring and down-to-earth way. They kept their friendship alive after the Andy Griffith Show ended. Enjoying quiet conversations and family gatherings, Andy encouraged Ron to pursue his dream of becoming a director, comparing success in Hollywood to fishing. It takes patience, hard work, and a bit of luck. Ron valued Andy's guidance, which helped him start his directing career successfully with a notable film. A comedy about a mermaid falling in love with Tom Hanks became a big hit in 1984, pleasing both audiences and critics. People seemed fine with accepting the idea of a mermaid. Soon after, Ron Howard released another successful movie in 1985 called Cocoon, which focused on aging, life, and surprisingly, aliens. Now about Andy Griffith. While he was friendly and talkative on TV, in real life he was more private. He preferred to keep his personal life to himself and didn't share much with the media, but those close to him knew him well. Andy was described by Ron as someone with a great sense of humor, good manners, and strong morals. He loved music, and when he wasn't giving advice, he was usually playing his guitar or singing gospel songs. Growing up in a small town in North Carolina had a big impact on him, and he stayed true to himself despite becoming famous. Ron admired Andy's humble nature and strong work ethic, which influenced how he lived and worked. Griffith was a really great mentor. Andy Griffith was friendly and thoughtful, which made him popular with everyone. This same quality influenced Ron Howard, who is now a well-respected filmmaker in Hollywood. For example, his movie Apollo 13 from '95 is perfect for those who enjoy suspense and some NASA drama. Ansel John and just about anything to relate to anyone and make space for dialogue as he explains the need to take. It's based on a true space mission that faced problems, and Ron made it an exciting film. The movie earned 9 Academy Award nominations. Nominations for Best Picture include A Beautiful Mind from 2001, which looked at the complex reality of mental illness. The film won many awards and gave Ron Howard his first Oscars for Best Director and Best Picture. It's as if he has a special talent for telling big, human stories. Andy Griffith had a tough time in his later years, dealing with serious health issues like a heart attack and Guillain-Barré syndrome, a rare condition that affects the nervous system. Andy didn't let his nervous system issues hold him back. He continued his entertainment career and stayed connected with his fans. He often mentioned that his love for storytelling kept him motivated, even during tough times. His determination inspired not only his fans, but also people like Ron Howard, who admired Andy's ability to remain positive despite his health challenges. Andy's strong spirit was truly remarkable. After suffering a serious heart attack in the 1980s, he recovered quicker than anyone thought possible. Even though he had a condition that temporarily made it hard for him to walk, He still gave talks and made public appearances. Andy was a great mentor who motivated people better than any speaker. He would tell Ron how proud he was of his growth as a filmmaker. Ron, holding back his emotions, expressed his gratitude to Andy for his career guidance and friendship. Who wouldn't want someone like Andy Griffith in their life? The man likely made you feel unstoppable just with a smile and a fishing pole. For Ron, these moments were both heartwarming and sad. Andy wasn't just a co-star, he was like a wise uncle who always had the right words. Their last meetings were calm, filled with a deep connection that comes from understanding each other. Ron still cherishes Andy's final words, holding on to them like a precious keepsake, but without the fear of losing it. Their friendship left a lasting impact. The strong bond between Andy Griffith and Ron Howard on The Andy Griffith Show created a unique experience for fans. They weren't just watching characters, they saw a father-son relationship filled with care and respect. This dynamic showcased the importance of family values, warmth, and good communication, which could impress any family therapist. Even today, Ron Howard keeps Andy Griffith's memory alive. A guy shares stories about Andy during interviews as if they're chatting over coffee. He says his success in Hollywood comes from the values Andy taught him, like respect, kindness, and staying calm under pressure. As a director, Ron honors Andy's spirit on his film sets, creating a drama-free environment where everyone works together like family. This style of leadership is something Andy would have liked, helping keep his legacy alive in every movie Ron made.